Okay, we've just got the afternoon break of the second day of evidence of Peter Francis, the undercover police officer who infiltrated anti-racist and family justice campaigns between 1993 and 1997. He became a whistleblower in 2010. I'm joined by Claire Hildreth, who has been watching the evidence of him today. What have you made of what Peter Francis has had to say?
I feel quite conflicted watching him because I don't think he's very well.
He's clearly not.
Yeah, and I don't know, Barr's he's giving it as good as he gets, but I can tell he's struggling with it. So it's because he's a former cop, but then he is the whistleblower. I don't know. He's alluding to not being well. He said, he talked about back when he was writing things in 2003, he said, I wasn't well then. And he said, I'm not well now. So you can he's getting tired now, I think, towards, but I mean, his memory's pretty good.
I mean, it's mostly good. He says that he can't remember anything that relates to any demonstrations or any violence, any disorder. He says he's not capable to recall that because this triggers his PTSD.
Yeah.
So we had, for example, the Beacons Tree counter-protest, the Blood and Honor gig that resulted in the kidnapping of all the protesters who were then taken by a specially chartered tube train to Wills Court Station, where they were all badly beaten up. Peter Francis says he got a black eye that day. He says that he was commendated by the back office for surviving.
Yeah.
But he says he can't really remember what exactly happened. He knows the police behaved very badly, and there was excessive force. It was put to him that it was his pre-demonstration report that kind of primed the police to act in that manner. That basically, he'd said that they were that it was crazed street fighters, to
the point of madness.
To the point of madness, with courageous to the point of madness, which, I mean, it's got to have played a fairly significant part in the way in which the police reacted to the crowd.
Yeah, it's a bit, I don't know, that's when it just ended, didn't it? So it's a bit, I don't know. I wonder what he thinks about that, because it sounds like it's true.
Yeah,
even if it's not all of the intelligence, it's the main, and I mean, was it true? I don't know. I mean,
was it true that they were crazed to the point of madness? Almost certainly not. But was it true that report was what led to the police to behave in that manner? I would say almost certainly.
Because even if they were good fighters, etc., they're not like the far right who are generally crazed to the point of madness, but would really, really, I think it gave them an excuse. I think that's how it came across.
I mean, I think it came across very strongly to me that that the police being presented with this report from Peter Francis that made these wild, outlandish claims kind of led to what their response was. We saw also that there was a few things from that 2003 witness statement, the Officer A witness statement, one of which where Peter Francis claims that if he'd have been outed as an undercover police officer, then he would have been badly beaten, and it could have possibly been fatal. And he was really kind of called out on this as is this really realistic? And he says, well, he knows now that that people from Militant Labour or the Socialist Party didn't want him dead, but he believes that, that somehow the anti-fascists would have beaten him that badly. I mean, there is no examples of any member of the far right being so badly beaten that they get killed in the UK. I mean, there is documented evidence of what violence between anti-fascists and fascists has been like in the UK, and it's never anything that serious. I'm just
compared to other countries where things have gone on that have been really, really bad. It's
or even any kind of street violence. I mean, compared to what you see on a Friday night, kicking out time outside. You know what I mean? It's just not that extreme.
Was it how he felt at the time when he was writing it? Because he wasn't very well, and he felt that because he felt that the Met put him at risk, and he wasn't protected, and he was at risk basically from everybody around him.
But also, I think there's this culture of perceived risk, which underlines so much about the SDS, that they made out that they were in terrible danger all the time, as a way of showing how serious and how important the work of the SDS was. I mean, it carries through right until today with the way in which they've responded with their anonymity orders at the inquiry. We spent 5 years waiting for this inquiry to get started because they were going on about they were under so much risk if they got outed. Risk which just isn't believable. It's not credible. I don't think what Peter Francis wrote then was credible. I can believe that he believed it at the time because he was mentally unwell, but it's not a credible statement to make.
It's that thing. It was the same with Mark Kennedy, wasn't it? That it was a kangaroo court and that. And all he did was he came to a house and people had a chat with him and he went away safely. Just like he arrived, and they like to. This is this. I don't know, this sort of bolstering their importance. I mean, I do have some respect for Pete Francis that I don't have for any of the other ones, but I do think they're all prone to that kind of exaggeration, and I think just probably just reflect how he felt at the time. People might have given him a bit of a kick in. I mean, if they found out he was an undercover cop at the time,
I mean, possibly. I mean,
I don't think it would have been as bad as what he was making out. They're going to kick him to death. I don't think so.
Also, I mean, there was a lot of talk in his reports about certain individuals were violent, and he was asked, what was this violence? Oh, he saw them punch people. Was that in self-defense or was it offensively? And he was like, oh, well, it would have been emerged. It would have emerged. And
he
was
said
like,
that a lot.
Yeah, and he said, well, have you got any examples of this person using violence in an offensive manner? And he was like, no, I don't.
Even the most violent ones.
Even the most violent ones.
They didn't see that ever. And anything that was going on, he was involved in it anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, also, it's just not, I mean, the idea that there was some extreme violence being meted out, it's just not, it doesn't stand up to any of the evidence. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, maybe there was some punching and kicking, some pushing and shoving, but there's no suggestion of any grievous bodily harm. There's no suggestion of anything like any attempted murders or anything like that. There's nowhere near anything like that. But this build-up of this perceived risk. And I accept that Peter Francis has got a mental health problem that means that he can't talk about these violent incidents without triggering his PTSD, and that it is obviously very difficult for him to give evidence about these matters. But there is so much in his reports which amps up the kind of what is happening on the streets to the point of just not being credible.
It's not realistic based on, I mean, I was around at some of these events as well, and it's not really like that. Do you know what I mean? Although most of the time it's people, I mean, the SWP would, they'd get penned in and people would run about, but the actual amount of fighting was very small. And I mean, I wouldn't have been involved in it anyway, but this, we'd never heard about fascists getting sort of seriously injured by anti-fascists on the streets of Britain. It just never, it's not happened, does it? So it's that. There's a history, isn't it? It goes through all these reports of them exaggerating people's either level of violence or the risk that these, we present to the, I don't know, society, because they've got to keep justifying their existence. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should feel less sorry for him.
I mean, I think it's understandable why people are sorry for him. I mean, he does, as he gives evidence, it's obviously he's affected.
Yeah.
There was certain points where he was shown a report about a protest. He's reading the report. He's answering questions about it. Then the topic moves on, and he's in a bit of a trance and goes, "Oh, sorry, I was still in the demo."
He's trying to fight. I mean, I didn't know that he had. I mean, it's kind of obviously it's PTSD, but I kind of thought from watching him, it sounds like that. But then, so have other people, haven't they?
Yes, I mean, this is the key thing. I mean, and the underlying thing is that we've heard so much about the way in which this has affected the mental health of undercover police officers, that so many people who've been affected by the deployments have got complex PTSD, and they're appearing at the inquiry. I mean, particularly those family members of the people who've been murdered by the police, murdered by racists, who have then have been targeted by the police for fighting for justice. I mean, the levels of complex PTSD that some of those people have experienced, and they've still come and given evidence at the inquiry because they think it's important for the truth. And it shows really that the SDS officers don't have an importance for the truth because they benefit from the lack of truth.
Yeah. Well, some of them can't even come. They say they're not well enough, but have they had a family member murdered and then not been able to grieve properly for 30 years? No, they haven't, but they can't be bothered to turn up. And it's like, how unwell are they? Where's the evidence? I think it's not. There's a lot of that. I don't know. I don't know. Can you compel them to come?
I mean, there's a certain element of compulsion they can do if they're in the country, but I mean, he's made a ruling that he's not compelling Dave Hagan, HN81, to come because he decided that his health's not worth it. We will be hearing from some of the managers. Some of the managers have just been talked about, particularly John Webb, who was in the control room on the 15th of January '94 when the Beacon Tree and Earl's Court event happened, and saw the events unfold via CCTV camera, wrote up the reports, and would have often been in the control room for a lot of these events. He said the managers would have been in the control room seeing the events as they happened. And a lot of the questions that were put to Peter Francis, he said, "Oh, you need to put that to John Webb." Did, which, I mean, theoretically that'll be during phase 3 of this tranche. Okay. So probably in June, July, we should be hearing from those officers who the managers rather, who weren't out in the field as undercover officers, but have got a lot of light to shed on what actually happened.
Yeah, that'd be, I mean, interesting. So they were like, if they were watching it all unfold, it's very different from him who was involved in it and then trying to pretend to be somebody who he wasn't, while being at risk from other police. Because there's quite a few of them that got assaulted by other police. They never got assaulted by like us,
Right.
but they got assaulted by their own colleagues quite a lot. Yeah.
It's only a short break, and we should go back in.
Okay.
There'll be another session now, and then we'll probably be finishing around 5. We'll do another video then. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, thanks.
No worries. Thanks for joining us. See you all in a bit.